Good morning, Casey here reporting for KC Collections in Buchanan, Virginia. And it's a great day. It's Sunday, it's October 2nd, and it's a great day to pop open. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be open here on Sunday. Our normal hours, though, are Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 9 until 5. And on occasion, based on a lot of different variables, we decide when we can pop open. So this morning, we've decided we can pop open today, Sunday, October 2nd, from 9 until 5. So if you didn't know what you were going to do today, perhaps a trip to KC might be on the agenda. Again, we're open today on Sunday, October 2nd, from 9 until 5. Good morning, and I hope everyone is doing well on this Sunday morning. We are expecting, rain later today. So what do you do on a lazy, rainy day? Don't be lazy. Come on out and see us here at KC Collections from 9 until 5. We'd love to have you in. As I go through the live this morning, I'm going to try to give you some things talk about some things that I haven't talked about before. I've done some pretty lengthy lives this past week for 3 days. So if you missed those, they were packed with information. And if you like to catch up, certainly that's an option. Our bachelor's cabinets, as they're called, are incredibly popular. And of course, black is our number one color. All of our furniture on the floor is available for purchase. We do offer contracted delivery. And our next delivery date is next Wednesday. Or this Wednesday, since we're on Sunday, this Wednesday, October 5th, and it's going to be afternoon deliveries that day in an unusual situation. Normally, they're between 10 and 4 or so. But coming back to the bachelor's cabinet, notice it's got a door at the top and a door at the bottom. It's one of our most popular pieces that we carry. It's great for storage. It's got a couple shelves up at the top and certainly the same thing at the bottom. But what I wanted to make sure to tell you is that we can get this same cabinet, but just not put a door on the top. And then all of a sudden, instead of being called a bachelor's cabinet, it's called a library. So this particular cabinet, later on in the live, when I talk to you about, instead of doing built-in shelving beneath the TV and beside the TV, some people are opting to put several pieces of furniture together. And I heard that a lot yesterday. So I'll get you to remember this piece of furniture when I get to that point in the live. I hope everyone is doing well. If you're digging out your fall goodies and you need some more, well, guess what? We're popping open today on Sunday, October 2nd from 9 until 5. Our fall goodies are going very quickly, but we do still have wreaths, garland, certainly frame prints, as well as some decorative pumpkins. You can see this basket is full of American-made pumpkins. And yes, that is what I said, American-made pumpkins. So anytime you can buy items that are proudly made in the USA, that's certainly a great option. As we go through the live this morning, I also want to remind you from a live that I did, or the last two, that our furniture wait times have gone down. So if you custom order, thankfully, they've gone down a little bit. Typical wait times are in the 4 to 5 month, closer to the minimum of the 5 month. If you're going for a roughs on top table, and I'll show you what those look like in just a moment, then the wait time has gone from 7 months down to 6. So we are seeing things improve in that regard as far as if you want, let's say, a bookcase, but you want it in a different color, or you need this bookcase, but you need doors at the bottom, and we're out of that one, and we are at the moment, then ultimately we can order it and get those in. So as we look at our table selection, because that's a hot topic as we are now, not moving into, we are in the fourth quarter. We do have quite an assortment of 6-foot tables as well as 8-foot tables. Speaking about colors just for a moment, you can see that this is black honey leaf. It is a lot lighter than Sealy, for example. And if you look here, I think that you can see the difference between those two. Sealy and black has become a very popular color combination for us. I think people are really enjoying it because it's got that aged oak look, but maybe more of a modern look to it. And here you can compare Sealy to Special Walnut. So you can see the special walnut certainly has more of the brown tones than what the Sealy has. So you move from honey leaf to Sealy to special walnut is sort of the direction of the colors there. Notice here we've got a 6-foot table. It is more of a stately table, as I call it. So an option certainly is adding that thicker, as they call it, an 8 1/4 top, versus if we look back here, let's say at this one where it's a standard top. So you can see if we glance over there that the thicker top, if you can just have a 6-foot table, but you want it to have more oomph, so to speak, then the thicker top will certainly do that for you. And as we get down here, we've worked our way into Michael's Cherry, which is also the color of the bookcase there in the back. So you can compare the colors, Sealy to Special Walnut to Michael's Cherry. Another thing to point out, it's a great day to come to KC. We are open today, Sunday, October 2nd from 9 until 5. But another thing to point out is 2 different vendors have 2 different shades of black. So you can see here that this vendor, who is also, it's our number 2 vendor, quickly coming on, so to speak, up the ranks, has more of a satin finish. Our main vendor has more of a glossy finish. They are both incredible. They both have incredible craftsmanship, but just a difference in the blacks. So one thing that I like to really talk about this time of year with customers and spend a good bit of time yesterday is if you're looking for a table and if a hutch, let's say, is in your future, then it's a very good idea to think about the picture over the long term. In other words, one vendor, the one with the satin finish, makes certain hutches, such as this one right here. Notice that it's got more of the molding around the top of it. It's a little bit taller. It's got kind of curved glass there at the top, versus if I give you a wide shot here of the white one over to the right of the screen, it's a couple inches shorter. It doesn't have that crown molding, and that's by the vendor with the glossy black finish, so to speak. Or, for example, this hutch right here, that is in a color called Sealy Black. Notice it has a satin finish, so if you're in love with that hutch, you're in the market for a table, think about the long run. Are you going to be adding a hutch to that room? Are you going to be adding a server? And in that regard, it's good to think about everything all at once, because if you like this particular hutch, it's more of a satin finish. Therefore, if you're a person that likes things to be matchy-matchy, and of course I fall into that category, so I want to be conscious of that, then it's good to get the table with the satin finish, because when they're right next to each other, the way these hutches are, and hopefully you can see, maybe not as good in video as in person, but it's a big difference when those items are in the same room. So again, just a little something to point out as far as planning for the long run when you're in the market for tables. Also, some things that you can look through in the books on our table that maybe I don't talk about so much in the live or in the lives. There's a variety of options. Certainly right now we're out of extension tables, but extension tables, which is what you see right here, they're a great way, and I'll back up just a couple pages to show you. Actually, it's probably in the other, or it's right over here. They're a great way to go from a starting point where you want to be all the time. So let's say you want to have seating for 4 people all the time, and you don't want to have this huge table in your area all the time. Okay, so that means it's good with an extension table to know where you want to start. So if you want to seat 4 people, then typically that's going to be a 4-foot extension table. And then we decide, how far out you need it to go. And that needs to be decided when you order the table so the table can be constructed. So that's a big thing that people, come in store and they know they want a table. But let's say the size table that they have at home now isn't the size table that they want. Well, a good, place to start with an extension table is thinking about where you want it to start. So if you want it to start at 4 feet and then you want it to go out, let's say, to 8 feet, well, that means we need to add 4 leaves, but we need to get it built to be able to handle that. Now, also, if you don't have that size table in your space currently, then it's good to come in knowing if that size table will fit. And that's really a place that people go, astray and cause themselves multiple trips. And that's fine. We're not all about making a sale, and you all know that. But ultimately, time is money for you all. So a couple things that I wanted to go over as we really get into the table time of the year as people are getting ready for the holidays is how to figure out what will fit in your space if you haven't had a table of the size you're wanting in that space. So for example, this particular table is 6 foot, or let's go to one that's 42 inches. That keeps my math kind of easy for me on this early Sunday morning. So this particular table here is a 6 foot table, and it's 42 inches wide. So one of the things that I was talking with a customer about yesterday is you really have to plan for the fact that these chairs, when they're in use, they're at least 24 inches out. I mean, you can sit down in a chair and see that. So you take the chairs. Well, first of all, if you want a 6 foot table, you can use painter's tape and put your first row of tape on your floor where the actual table size will be. The second row of tape, go ahead and add 24 inches all the way around. And that row of painter's tape will show you what the table will look like when you are fully seated with guests. Now, at this point, your guests are all seated, and we worry about those guests that are back here right up against the wall. So in other words, this table, if you've got 6 guests coming, you can't have that person right against the wall, because how are they going to get in and out? So you've got to have walkways. So your third row of painter's tape will be wherever you want a walkway. And you don't want a walkway like that. So ultimately, we want to have a walkway that's 3 to 4 inches, or 3 to 4 feet rather, from the back of where the table or the chair legs are sitting. So pardon me before coffee here. So in summary, the first row of painter's tape will be where the table is. Second row of painter's tape to see if your furniture will fit in the room is 24 inches out from the table all the way around. After that row of painter's tape, wherever you need walkways, come out another 3 to 4 feet and add a row of painter's tape wherever you want walkways. Now, the real deal is, can you walk between the second and the third row of painter's tape? And if you can, that means that your furniture is not too large for the room. If you can't, and you're going through there like a toy soldier turned sideways, then it's too big for the room. So inexpensive things like painter's tape or masking tape, or putting just, let's say, cardboard on the floor, are a great way to be able to measure whether or not that size table that you're wanting will work. And all of that has to happen really before you can make a decision. So 2 sets of helpful hints related to tables this morning is, if you need an extension table, we don't have those right now, we have some in the pipeline and we can certainly order, is think about where you want to start, think about where you want to end. And then the same concept applies to extension tables as regular tables. Maybe try out that painter's tape or some other method, remembering that the seating will cause it to take up more room, the table to take up more room, and certainly the walkways will cause it to take up more room. If you need a solid top table, just like we looked at a moment ago, with this cream table, then you just go from, you don't have to worry about where you want to start and where you want to end. You just go from using the masking tape or painter's tape or cardboard to help you out in that regard. Now, as far as picking a size table, let's say you have all the ability in the world, you have all the room in the world, and you want to kind of get an idea of what size table you need. The typical rule is a foot per person. So if you're trying to seat 4 people, then that's a 4-foot table. Ideally, 36 at a minimum wide, if not 42 wide. If you're trying to seat 8 people, then again, ideally, that's a foot per person, and that's an 8-foot table. Now, can you get 8 people around a 7-foot table? You can. It's going to be snug. You can make it work. The same is true of, let's say, this particular table. It's 6 foot. It's 36 inches wide. Now, of course, 6 foot makes 6 people bearable, but up underneath, you can see they're going to be rubbing some knees. And why is that? Because it's 36 inches wide. So you say on this morning where you're popping open, today on Sunday, October 2nd, we're going to be here from 9 until 5. Why would you want a 36-inch table when you could get a 42-inch table? Because your space won't take the 42-inch. The only reason people buy a 36-inch table is because when they do the measurement that we've talked about, pulling the chairs out, creating the walkways, etc., they can't fit a 42-inch wide table. Because if they could, they would get that table. Saying it differently, why would you have a queen-size bed if they were the same price as a king-size bed? Well, there could be a couple reasons that would justify that. One would be all of your quilts that you've accumulated over the years are queen and you don't want to move up to a king. But if you were to magically be able to not have any of those factors come into play, then you would definitely pick a king-size bed, a larger bed, if your room would accommodate it, if it didn't cost you more. The same is true of a 36-inch table versus a 42-inch table. It's a big difference. Now, coming back to this table for a moment, the largest that we carry in store at any time is an 8-foot table. But let's say you have a monster room and you have a large family where you want to seat 10 people. Okay, it's a Sunday dinner. And we had a gentleman in a few years ago, and he brought all his grandsons when he picked the table up. We ordered from him, let me tell you. But let's say that you have 10 people you want to seat every Sunday. You're going to, you're bringing your family home remember those days of going to your grandparents' house on Sundays? Oh, how I missed that. But you bring everybody home for Sunday dinner, and he wanted everybody to be comfortable. And he had, some healthy, it looked like he had all grandsons. So whatever the case, he wanted a 10-foot table. But let me tell you, that 42-inch table wasn't wide enough for him, okay? They wanted to put a lot of food on that table. Certainly they were going to put padding down to protect it. They wanted everybody to be able to have lots of room. So we can get tables larger, such as 48 inches. And the largest one I've ever sold was a 10-foot rough-sawn table, 48 inches wide. And that one was a beast of a table. And certainly they brought all their help to load it. Now, coming back to extension tables for a moment, we can get out to like 11 feet in an extension table. So, if that's something you want, and we don't sell a lot of those, typically the largest extension table we've sold is they wanted it to start at 6 feet and they wanted it to go to 10 feet. So, those are options as well. So lots of decor in the store. I'm trying to show you as many things as I can. If furniture's not your thing, then you've hopefully got me on mute, not having to listen to all of that. But ultimately, some good tips or I hope they're good tips, things that I don't always get to share on the lives. Now, let's say you're in love with a trestle base. And let's say you have someone at home in a wheelchair, or you want an extension table that just looks different. So you want, let's say, a rough-sawn top extension table, and you want to be able to add what's called company boards at the end. They're very convenient for folks in a wheelchair. With that company board, you just add it into the holes when you need it. You could add it into the end. So typically, the company boards are 18 inches, so you can take a 6-foot table and add 2 18-inch company boards and get to 9 feet in a hurry. So that's certainly an option that you see there that we don't always have in stock. Let's say that you want an extension table, but you don't want a normal rectangle extension table. Well, we can do a round table that's 48 inches and take it from a round to an oval table. Now, anytime you go from a rectangle table to a round or oval table, it's amazing how much you feel like you actually lose in eating surface, if you will. So in other words, you could take a 48-inch table, a 4-foot by 4-foot table, okay? All of a sudden, you take that out and you get yourself a 48-inch round table, and it feels a lot smaller. So just in cutting those edges off, so to speak, and making it go from either square or rectangle, in the case I gave, square, to round, does really make a difference in the feel of the eating area. So a little bit of helpful hints this morning related to tables as we move into that time of the year. Now let's shift off of tables for a moment and let's talk about entertainment systems. And you don't want to do a built-in, you don't want to wait on the custom cabinetry, all of those regards. You want to come to KC and get something that you can order or have in stock so that you have a place, to store things under your TV. You're going to wall mount your TV or you're going to sit it, and you want it to look kind of like one piece, if you will, as far as the furniture. Now, I don't have that pushed back because unfortunately, or fortunately, this has sold yesterday, so I wanted to show it before it leaves. Notice we've got glass doors here where the knobs open and the door opens to the left, and then this door opens to the right. So that makes it feel like a uniform piece. You love this setup, but let's say the TV stand's not big enough. Well, we can get a larger one. And this is from our satin vendor. This is one of our most popular new colors coming on, which is gray and cherry. And after this is taken out, on Thursday, we don't have any more of this color in stock, which is why I got it on order. Don't you worry. But which is why I wanted to show it this morning. So you like this setup, but you don't like the glass doors. Well, we can make them wood doors. You like this setup, but you don't want doors at all on the two pieces on the side. Well, we can take them off. They don't have to be on there. So custom changes like taking a door off, changing the way the door opens, all of that stuff is easy for us to be able to make as changes. Now, let's say that you like that setup, but remember that bachelor's cabinet that I showed you back up at the front, and how instead of it being a bachelor's cabinet, when we take the doors off, it becomes what we call a library. Well, we can do that with our main vendor. And I wanted to show you one of the TV stands that we have. Again, this one is sold and it's going out. So I wanted you to be able to see it before it goes away. Right here at the back of the store, we've got a 72-inch TV stand. So let's say you've got a monster wall, you've got a monster TV, and you want to be able to have more of a finished look around your TV with all the custom cabinetry. Well, we can do that. So here you see a 72-inch TV stand. It's got two doors on each side that open up. It's got shelves that go in the middle. And that, again, at the very front of the live, I showed you those bachelor's cabinets that convert to libraries. You put one of those on each side, and all of a sudden you have a huge entertainment system. But all you've done is been smart about getting it in all real wood, Amish made, and it's 3 pieces instead of one, which if you want to pick up yourself is going to make it so much easier to load and deal with. And again, it's all real wood. So when you're out shopping at other places, just make sure the backs, turn the piece of furniture around or ask before you order, is it all real wood? Okay, can I see the back of it? And that is really a big sign, okay? You want the back of your furniture to be wood, to look like wood. You don't care if it's up against the wall. You want it to be wood, not pressed wood, not particle board, not anything like that, or at least that's what I hear from a lot of my customers. Here's another TV stand that's from the satin finish vendor, the one that I just showed you the gray furniture with. So there's a variety of TV stands that you can get, and of course you can change the pieces on the side. Some people want those skinnier pieces. Other people want something like this. They want it to be wide open. This is a 2x6 bookcase, so you can even put bookcases beside it and give it that flushed, finished one-piece look by just putting 3 pieces together. And again, supporting local and ultimately buying good Amish made product. Now, islands. It's a hot time of the year for islands. What's the beauty of an island? Well, I love islands because when I sit down, I don't have as far to get up. Okay, so just call me lazy. No, not really. Lots of volleyball injuries and walking. So I love being able to sit in an island because it's higher seating, and we'll look at some pub tables that'll give you that as well. The nice thing about this particular all maple island is you get lots of storage. So I like to call islands seating with storage. I mean, how can you get any better, right? I mean, whatever you want to put in here, these particular islands are really deep. So they're good for lots of different appliances that you want to store that you don't want cluttering up your countertop. The nice thing about this brand, which is the all satin brand of islands, and it'll be this book that you would take a look at, is that the shelves are adjustable. So just like his bookcases, again, the satin vendor, if you're in store, it's this particular book. His shelves are adjustable not only on his hutches, but also on his bookcases and on his islands. So seating with storage, deep islands can be wonderful. Now, how many people do you want to seat? That's the next question. It doesn't cost that much more to extend the top of an island. So let's say, and I'm just shooting from the hip here, that it's another $150 or $200. And again, I'm just shooting from the hip. And you can make the top extend on this side and this side. Well, think about it. When you're working with an island set, a 3-piece set that's all maple, and unbelievably for $31.45 for an all maple, brown maple island set, a couple $100 to double your seating is nothing. I mean, it's a great way. I mean, it's the best buy you're ever going to get when you just simply extend the top on an island. You double your seating. You can go from 2 to 4. Now, what ideally would you put at the end if you doubled your seating? Well, most people like to get saddle stools because that way they don't have that chair sticking out all the way all the time. So the island top comes out, and then ultimately you can fit saddle stools here at the end, just like if I show you on this island here where it's extended. So in other words, notice then where the extension is, the actual stool itself doesn't stick out much, but you've just added twice as much seating by having that island top extended. So if you see an island in store that you like, of course, everything on the floor is for sale. We can order. We can change the colors. We can extend the tops. You can buy extra seating to go with it. But those are some things that we don't always have time in store. Or if a person doesn't ask, we may not talk about that I wanted this morning as we are hot in the fourth quarter now, second day of the fourth quarter, to let you know about. This is the same vendor, but notice instead of straight legs on the island, meaning the leg right there goes straight down, notice we can also do something a little fancier, which we call a curve leg. And this is in, I think, a dove white color, and I believe that is the top. This morning, the eyes are tired, is a special walnut stain on top. And then notice this is also a special walnut stain. So you can change the look of the island. And on these all maple islands, you don't have to worry about the white bleeding through on pine wood. So if you wanted a bright white, we can do that if that's your color. Grays are incredibly popular right now. Also sages. So, black is by far still the number one color. I think it will be. It has been. And by the way, we turned 8 yesterday, 8-year anniversary. We brought a hurricane, I guess, but nonetheless, in all of those years, black has remained the number one color. Now, let's say you want a trash can, okay? You don't really have a spot for it in your kitchen, and you want to add on a trash can, not two like we have here, but you could. Well, then ultimately, you can add a trash can at the end, or if you're looking for islands that have trash cans in them, we can do that as well. Here's an all maple island that is in a bright white color. It's usually one of our more popular islands in bright white. Always get those glides on the drawers. I mean, if, that's something you're going to be using a lot, then glides on the drawers are definite. The raised panel doors are now standard, so it looks Definitely less primitive, if you will, on our main grouping of islands. Lots of storage in there, just don't have those adjustable shelves. Now you're looking for an island, you don't care about the adjustable shelves, or it's a price point that you're really concerned about, and you want to get the cost down. Well, the way to do that is have a hardwood on your eating surface. So in other words, this is a wormy maple top, and you can tell that by the wormholes. And I'm not sure if you can see them on video. And then the base of this particular island is pine. So you go from having an island that costs $9.75, again, a hard surface where you need it, works fine. We've sold, I can't tell you how many without pulling reports. Or if you want that maple base on it, because let's say you want white and you don't want bleed through, or you just want a hardwood, then you go up to $13.95. So in other words, this set goes from, or all maple set in this line with brown maple at the top is $22.45 versus this one where you can cut costs a little bit, get the pine base on the bottom where you don't need as much of a harder wood assortment, and get a whole set with the chairs for $18.25. So those are some ways also that you can evaluate your needs and be able to potentially save if that's something you need to do. Keep in mind, I usually say if you're evaluating between two options and you take that $300 or $400 difference like we just spoke about, and you divide that over how long you think you're going to have the island, 20 years. Well, $400 over 20 years is $20 a year. You know, can you live without that? And if the answer is yes, that's just my crude way of, in my mind, being able to say, well, then I'm going to get, if I can afford it, what I really want, because the difference is marginal for the time that I'm going to have it. So another way to possibly think about, things when you're comparing. You want to be able to have a larger island. You want the hardwood where you need it on the top. You can live with the pine on the bottom. But now all of a sudden, instead of seating, let's say 2 people, you're going to try to seat 3 people back here. Well, this is the island for you. And if you're looking at our islands and tables, and by the way, this one's $12.20. If you're looking at our islands and tables and you're wanting more pricing, all of them are on our website with pricing that we have in stock at thekcstores.com. Go under Shop Collections, Amish Furniture. You'll see a section on in-stock islands and in-stock tables. Now, the very front one, the one at the front of the store, there is one with a thick top table I need to take off that was sold, but and I'll go back through it this morning to make sure that it's completely accurate. But nonetheless, you can always call to see if it's in stock until I get my feet on the ground this morning. So this particular island is basically a 3-seater. You say, okay, I love it. I love it because it's larger. I love it because it's, 62.5 inches wide versus the other islands that turn out to be, as far as the width, 56 inches wide. But, I need to seat 5 people. Okay, no problem. We can get this made. We'll just extend. Remember that extending the top? We can extend the top on both sides, and you can take it from a 3-seater to a 5-seater, or let's say you only really want to seat 4. Well, that makes it even more comfortable on this back side, but your space requires a bigger, more stately island, then there you go. That's an option also. Now, you want a table, and as I was talking about earlier, you don't want it as far to get up, okay? Pub tables are great for that. So whether you're looking for a round pub table, or let's say as I flip around here and find it, it's right behind me. It's always in almost plain sight. Eyes in the back of the head there. Notice this one is a or a square table. This one is in Michael's Cherry, and it's 36 by 36. It's a 3-foot table. So a pub table is great. Certainly if your height is right where you're not uncomfortable, then, legs dangling, that kind of thing, that's not so comfortable. But it does mean, not as far to get up. It may fit, the aesthetics of your home better. So any of these tables that I've talked to you about this morning, we can make them pub tables. That's no big deal. Let's say you like this one, 6 foot by 36 inches, but you want it to be a pub. Poof. We just order it that way and we make it happen. And we take the chairs and you say, well, what's the difference in the height? Well, a typical table is 30 inches from the ground to the top of the table. So what's the height of a pub table? It's 36 inches. So what does that mean for the chairs? Well, chairs are typically 24 inches from the floor to the seat. So 24 inches, a 30-inch table. You want your chairs to be between, let's say, 6 to 12 inches from the seat of the chair to the top of the table. So what does that mean then for a pub table? Well, you take it from 30 to 36, and then what you do is you take that chair and you make it a pub chair. So you bring it up also from a 24-inch pub to a 30-inch pub, and voila, just adding the extra wood makes it happen. So a lot this morning about tables and islands, throwing the decor in there as well as we go along. Frame prints, great way to change out a room. I love to do it in the main room by season. You can change out frames. We can order it that way. Our framer is beachdaleframes.com, so you can go on their website. Our prices are going to be better than what you see out there, and of course you can't buy through them anyway, but you can change out the frames. You can, online, so you can see what it looks like in a variety of different frames, and that's a great way to customize a frame print for you. Bedroom furniture. We never have enough room to show bedroom furniture properly. We certainly have bedroom sets. We have some pieces that are open stock. So just chat with us about what you need. It's possible that we can break some pieces off from a set. We have to make sure it works for you and it works for us in the long haul, as far as being able to sell it with the space it's taken up. So bedroom furniture, definitely an option. We are adding back on a vendor that's kind of gotten things back under control. It's going to add 2 hours to my trips. But ultimately, their ownership changed, and now we've seen their quality's fine. So we are adding back on a vendor, and we'll try to get that on our website soon, that had the rustic barn door look and the rustic traditions finishes. So watch out for that. We've got more coming. Or if you're in the market for bedroom furniture, please talk to us in store about that. Now, we've got a little bit of a rug show here, only we're not going to get the show this morning. I just don't have it in me to do it by myself this early. But ultimately, there's sale rugs here. We got in many more rugs this week. Did a lot of analyzing to make sure that we had our top sellers here at the main store. Many of them, unbeknownst to me, in the whirlwind of getting two stores back under one roof, so going from 3 to 1, I didn't realize that some of the top sellers never made it here. So we are working on our rug assortment, and as I get back there in just a moment, I do want to show you an armoire. So an armoire, a great addition to be able to have a rod at the top, or we don't have to. If you don't want a rod at the top, but you want something like this for storage, it comes with an adjustable shelf, but we can also order more shelves. So you need storage, call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be called an armoire. We don't put the rod in. We order a couple extra shelves for you. You got the drawers at the bottom, and it's incredibly deep. The furniture, they have to call it something, right? But it can be, wherever you want it to be. And of course, for whatever use you need it for. Our pie safes are really popular. You can tell our economy line, which means not as much time and attention in the finishing process, a little more primitive, by the hinges. So hinges on the outside, that's more of our economy line. Hinges on the inside, like you see here, if that matters to you, say, well, I never even noticed that. Well, most people don't until I point it out. But that's a great way to understand price differences. So when you say, okay, why is this pie safe a certain price versus this one that, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but $100 less. Well, if we pull it out and you examine it, you're going to see the economy line has more character. It's still a phenomenal line, and the hinges are on the outside. Now, for a darker piece, you're not going to notice that as much. So see right here with the black, But for me, when I look over here, that grabs me. Now, does that matter? No, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't. But for some people, it really does. So when you're going with a black piece, you don't see there on the outside, like this one, it's on the inside. But for other colors, it definitely makes a difference. Whether that matters to you or not, price point usually helps to drive those kind of decisions as well. You need a deep piece of furniture to store some items. You don't have a large footprint as far as the height. Our PieSafe with drawer is phenomenal for that. You can't adjust the shelves, but it's sort of on the same basis as the armoire in that it has a drawer at the bottom and it's got very deep storage. So as you're getting things spruced up, spending more time inside in the dark, right? Darker longer, and getting ready for the holiday season, wanted to take a little more time this morning to talk through some things that, we're hearing in store or that maybe need a little more explanation. So you take that bachelor's cabinet that I showed you at the very top of the live, and you liked it, but you need it larger. Well, this is called a pantry. And this pantry is actually an extra large pantry. So it's roughly twice the bachelor's cabinet, but deeper. So lots of storage. It's deep like the armoire, so to speak. The measurements have to be similar, but notice at the bottom you have doors instead of the drawers. Now, remember the feature with the armoire that I really like, using it for storage, is getting those adjustable shelves. And, some drawers that may become junk drawers, but nonetheless. Notice here, a pantry, it's not the extra large pantry. So you can see, the depth of the pantry and then the depth of the extra large pantry. So it's adding certainly about, I'm going to guess from the hip, about 5 inches roughly to the depth, which does give you quite a bit more storage. As we go into the back room and I show you some other decorative items and just start to talk about rugs, we are still ordering larger size rugs for customers each and every week. 3 to 4 orders a week is what we're putting through here. I'm just giving you the data in that we can still service you like we did at KC Collections too, but without digging in stacks of rugs that made it so labor intensive, and with a very skeleton crew, we just weren't able to keep the store open despite the fact that it did really well. So the nice thing about what we're learning now is the rug companies are being able to service us a lot better now that time has passed, and that we can have, and by the way, this is something that people just don't realize, we can have 5 by 8, 5 by 7 rugs hanging. That's the size of these rugs. They look larger, but they're roughly 5 by 7, 5 by 8 rugs. We can have those hanging and ultimately order in the larger rugs as customers need them. And it's been working really, really well for us as a way that we're able to fit under one roof, still be a rug supplier for people that want to buy from us, and never ever buy a rug just seeing it hanging up. Okay? You really need us to get the rug down and to be able to let you see what it looks like. This rug rack is all our Karastan rugs. We do have another shipment of 5 by 8 Karastan rugs coming. Some of the ones that I want to have in stock have sold out. But you're here, and by the way, before you come, whether it's furniture or rugs, if there's things you need to match to, make sure you bring it with you. That's going to be the most ideal. It'll save you a trip. Do some measuring before you come. We had a person in store yesterday, and they were sure that a 3 by 5 was going to fit. And I said a prayer last night that 3 by 5 rug for her fit, because, all of our sales are final. Ultimately, you need to know the size of the rug you're looking for, because, when you're here and you find that rug that you love and you go on a 45-minute debate about whether it'll fit or whether it won't, that's just torturing yourself. That's really what that is. If you haven't had a rug there before, just measure, do I need a 3 by 5? Do I need a 5 by 7? What is it that I need for this room? Typically in a bedroom, you're going to be putting the rug sideways, so to speak, going, let's say, about 3/4 up under the rug. So for a queen size bed, the general rule of thumb is at least an 8 by 10. 9 by 12 is more ideal. For a king size bed, you can get by with an 8 by 10, but a 9 by 12 is more ideal. For a living room, many times people buy rugs that are too small. I'm just telling you what we found over the years. So you want to be able to show off those pretty hardwood floors if you have them. That goes without saying. So you want to leave a foot or two of border, around where the rug's not covering the whole floor. Because if you wanted that, you would have just put carpeting in. But you also want to make sure that your rug is not like an ill-fitted suit, so that it makes a statement in your room if that's what you want it to do. The rug can either make a statement in your room, or it can kind of just warm it up, make it cozy, and be more of a neutral. And your decor and what you like is going to determine that, whether you want something that's just more neutral or whether you want that rug to really be a focal point in your room. And of course, we all know we want the rug to tie everything together. We want to be able to have it match, our window treatments if we have them, or blend at least. We want it to be able to certainly blend with the furniture that we have on it. So measuring and knowing what size rug you need is a great starting point. Bringing in anything that you want to match to. And if you take pictures, please be sure that the pictures are an accurate reflection of what you took the picture of. Many people will run out. They're doing great, right? We just ran back in the house. We backed out of the garage. Oh, I need to take a picture of blank. The sofa. They run in, they take a picture of the sofa, but they didn't make sure the picture accurately reflected the sofa. So we're over here matching a rug to a picture that's not even accurate. So be careful with that one, is some helpful hints as well. Now we have some clips back here, some clothesline clips. Remember that? Days of hanging out the clothes. Oh, fond memories of my grandmother's house. But these little clips are yours to use as you're flipping through the racks and you want to pin your favorites. We're working on getting rug pricing on the rugs. So if we don't have it, in a different size, what would be the price of the rug in those sizes to make it easier for you as you shop. So that's kind of always the goal, is to try to make it easier for you, because rug purchasing, we found, is so much more overwhelming than buying furniture. So in general, it'll take a person longer to spend $300 on a rug than $3,000 on furniture. And certainly I didn't Google all that before I opened a rug store, but rug buying is overwhelming. So if you do feel overwhelmed, know that you're just part of the crowd, and we'll do whatever we can do to help with that. But some of the things that'll help you, and by the way, I'm showing you some clearance valances here and other towels beneath that make great stocking stuffers, Christmas gifts. So we want to take the stress out of rug buying for you, but some of the things that can help us help you is if you have things that you want to match to. You come in, you have that picture ready for us of what we're trying to match to, or better yet, you have a picture of the flooring or a piece of the flooring. You have, let's say, an armrest from the sofa or the chair. You have items right here with you. I know the size of the rug I need. This is what I'm trying to match to. That will take a lot of the stress out of it for you, is being in the know about what tools that you can have or be armed with, so that then we can help you find the best rug selection for your space. Because let's face it, you're not going out buying rugs and furniture every day of the week. You're looking for an economy rug, rather not economy, but a mid-grade rug, and you need roughly a 5 by 8. Our rugs start at $155. You need it in an 8 by 10-ish size. That's going to be $310. If we have them in stock, those are the prices. If we ship them in, there's some nominal shipping charges. We like to ship the large rugs here to the store, because if there is any problem in shipping, then we're the ones that are dealing with it as it comes in. The packaging is always dirty, nasty. Let me tell you, that plastic as it rides in the freight trucks to get here. So that's kind of where our rug prices start. Our wildlife rugs are incredibly popular, and we have our rugs on our website, thekcstores.com. The in-stock rugs that are listed there are not up to date, so bear with us. But we have a tremendous assortment of rugs on our website, thekcstores.com. And if you go under Shop Collections Area Rugs, you'll certainly see those out there. The wildlife rugs that we have access to, we've got an order in. Hopefully that'll be coming this week. And but the ones we have access to are out there, whether we have them in stock or whether we don't. So that's certainly some helpful hints there. So the summary of it all is we're open today. We're popping open on October 2nd. Time for shower, hair, and oh yes, some food. We're opening up at 9. I rushed into work this morning, so rush back home and get ready real quick. And then ultimately, Miscellaneous in Fairfield is open today as well. So just 35 minutes north while you're out and about. Go see Miscellaneous in Fairfield, I-81 exit 200. Make sure as you turn into the parking lot that you're going to the left-hand side of the building. We have a tremendous number of people that I think are mistaking our shop, despite our signage on the building, for the junk shop, the antique shop, and that's not being rude. It's just what it is. We call them junk shops, right? They're like treasures, if you will, next door. So remember, when you turn into Miscellaneous, the long brick building, we are on the left-hand side of that. Miscellaneous is open Thursdays through Sundays, 10 to 5. Here at KC Collections, we are open regular hours, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 9 until 5. So both stores, KC Collections and Miscellaneous, are open today, Sunday, October 2nd. We would love to have you out. We're popping open because we can, based on the variables that we have. And so many people say, I can only get to you on a Sunday. So there you go. A live starting at 7 o'clock, a long-winded live, but hopefully it had some helpful hints in it about, purchasing different items. If you have some things that you want me to go over in a live, some things that you have an interest in, I'm delighted to do that. It may take me a little time, but you can always drop that, in the comments here, or you can always email us. If you saw something in the lives that you wanted pricing on, you wanted to buy over the phone, well, just screenshot it, email us at kccollectionsmarketing@gmail.com. Give us a call at 540-254-1489. Tell us you sent it. We'll check it as soon as we can. We can sell things to you over the phone and hold them for pickup, or send them out if it's furniture on delivery for you as well. So again, if you have some ideas or things that you want to talk about in the lives, or you want me to talk about rather in the lives, you're welcome also to email us there at kccollectionsmarketing@gmail.com. Again, don't forget about Miscellaneous. Don't forget about your beeswax when you're in store. You'll save time and money in the cleaning process. It cleans a lot of things. The only thing it doesn't do is walk the dog. So with that in mind, enjoy your day. Be blessed. Enjoy the journey. Make our day. Let us know if it made your day that we're open when you come in store, because I always say, if we pop open on a Sunday and it makes one person's day, then it makes our whole day worth it. With that, be blessed, be safe, enjoy the journey. Make sure we live our best life today, because we all know it can change in a blink of an eye.